So how do you get the right heat pump for your project? There's really three things that you need to be considering when looking at heat pumps. There's the practicality of each type, there's the cost, which could be operational and capital cost, and then there's the efficiency, and the last two are really linked together. So let's look at practicality first. What resource is available to you? Do you have a lake on your campus, which means that you could go down the water source route? If not, that's probably not the way you should be going. Do you have a lot of land that you could use for a horizontal array? Do you have space for a vertical borehole system? Do you have a roof where you could put an air source heat pump? Those sort of things are the things we'll be looking at early on. So the next practicality to think about is the building itself. What kind of building are you trying to heat? Is it a new build? Is it a retrofit? Is it a mix? Do you have space for plant? Do you have any planning restrictions? Is it a listed building? What kind of temperatures do you need to deliver? What kind of heat emitters do you have? So that's the next thing to really consider. A couple of other practicalities to consider are your electricity network and your electricity supply. Is it big enough to have a heat pump? That's something to think about very early on. And then the other thing is noise. So you don't want to upset your workforce or your neighbours by putting in a potentially noisy system. So just consider that when you're looking at siting equipment or the type of heat pump that you're going to go for. The second point to consider is the cost of the system, which is really important. You're going to be interested in both the capital and the operational costs. How much is it going to cost you up front, and how much is it going to cost you to run? Taking capital costs first, you'll find that an air source heat pump system is generally going to be cheaper to buy upfront than a ground or water source heat pump system. That's purely because of the groundworks that are associated with the ground source and water source. If you then look at that on the flip side in terms of operational costs, it does switch over. So you'll find that an air source heat pump will cost you more to run if you look at, say, 1 year, 5 years, 20 years even, versus a ground or water source heat pump system. And that's because the air source is a lot less efficient than the ground source and water source heat pump system. The third point to consider is the system efficiency. If you take an air source heat pump, these do tend to be less efficient than the other options, which is ground and water source, and that's because the ambient air temperature, especially in the UK, changes throughout the year, and in the winter when you need most heat, that's when it's coldest outside and the heat pump's going to be working hard, so therefore it is less efficient in the winter time. Take a ground source heat pump system, that's using energy from the ground, which does tend to be a lot more stable all year round, especially if you're going down in a borehole where 100 or 200 metres below ground, it's a lot warmer down there than it is on the surface. So they do tend to be more efficient and more efficient all year round. A water source heat pump, sort of in the middle between air and ground source, if you're using a very stable water source system or water source temperature, that can be very efficient as well. So those are the things that you need to be considering with efficiency. To recap, how do you get the right heat pump for your needs? There are three things to think about in essence: the cost, the efficiency, and the practicality. And the best way to look at all these things together and find the right system for you is through a feasibility study.